So, I'm really grateful for everybody's comments on Instagram. If you are on Instagram, follow me at middle-aged hypebeast. And basically, I want to just talk about the Tudor again, because one comment that I made in the video was saying how Tudor could redeem itself by improving this watch to try and make it a little bit more commercial and saleable. As you know, when it was marketed, we just saw this portion of the watch and people thought they were going to get a Submariner reissue. But you have to think of this from Tudor's branding point of view. You can't just reissue something and sell it for sort of 3,000 or 4,000 euros when you can buy pretty much early 90s version for kind of 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 euros. It kind of devalues all their heritage, and Tudor at the moment are really playing on their heritage. So this is quite good. It has a lot of historical references because it was based on a 1960s prototype, but what you have to think with this is that it's kind of a safe bet as well. It's divisive, it's unusual, but it didn't get a lot of love. It's basically like promising a kid Nintendo for Christmas and then giving it an Apple, and that's kind of how Tudor collectors felt when they saw the press release. A little bit disappointed. So, going back to how this could redeem itself, we're looking about, could Tudor do something to make this better? Now, one thing I said yesterday is that they could reissue this in a PVD finish. So this could all be coated. This could maybe be coated with loomed inserts here where they've got the black numerals. These could be loomed. The dial plots could be loomed in a much cooler colour like Panerai have done recently with sort of blues or greens or something really contrasting. That's a possibility. You have to think, what we don't know is, have they got thousands of these just sitting in stock, which they have to either destroy, remodel, or do something with? Or did they only make a few of these because they knew it wasn't going to be that popular? So the one option is that they could do that. The second option would be simply to alter this end link here. Now, if you could change that and supply this watch with a dive bracelet, which would be great, or some kind of easy change so that this link could be modified by Tudor. Let me just open it up. And also, Tudor, please do something with this clasp because it's absolutely horrible to use. It feels so fiddly. I can't even open it now. There. Okay. So what they could do is modify this link here, that it had some kind of easy strap change system. I mean, you've got the easy link on Rolex watches, which is a very simple but very effective way. I think if Tudor could address this problem here and make it that we can literally just remove this and click on a new strap, kind of in the way that IWC used that Cartier strap change method. And for God's sake, Fossil even do it, and Fossil watches are a tiny price point compared to Tudor watches. So come on, Tudor, you can be a bit more imaginative than this. You could make quite exciting straps that will really add to this sort of like navy, rugged, vintage diver vibe very easily by just, if we could remove this and then put on a bracelet, we could put on a NATO with these lovely steel end links, then that would be really, really good. So there's still a lot of thinking that could salvage this watch and kind of make it a bit more popular with the buying public. Another thing that you could do would maybe have this in red to match the red writing that we've got here. There's lots of options that you could do. I don't see people customizing this watch in any way, but if Tudor have got a lot of inventory sticking around, they could address this and say, right, we can give this a second chance. But let's be realistic here. I mean, this watch is cool and beautiful, and I really don't think it needs many changes. I, for one, would love to put it on a bracelet, on a Tudor Black Bay bracelet. I think that would give the watch a really nice look. It would make it Tudor's equivalent of the Rolex Sea Dweller Deep Sea. It would be a really nice, over-engineered watch, which I think you can actually wear in any situation. I did notice that David Beckham is wearing this watch quite a lot. Now, obviously, he's a brand ambassador for Tudor, which kind of makes me think, yeah, of course, he's forced to wear these watches. Who isn't? But you also have to think as well that he's got his own sense of style. And to be honest, this kind of falls into that slightly rugged, barber-wearing, cool, little bit hipster look, but it's also a watch that you can change the look of quite easily. I mean, it looks really cool on a fabric NATO strap. It also looks cool on a bracelet. I've seen one person do it, and I would really love someone to try and do more. So what we have to think with Tudor is, what are they going to do? Are they going to say, no, it was a failure. Or we can revive this with some very simple tweaks and represent it. Remember, they've got a year basically before the next time they showcase any watches. So they've got that time to say, right, we can refresh this. We can kind of represent this. It's not like this watch has been flooded with supply. I mean, it's very hard to get. I know some people see it languishing in authorized dealers' windows, but when I was in Asia trying to order this watch, I mean, I had to literally show them a screenshot. It's not a watch that people were really informed about. Tudor have done pretty well with their other watches. The GMT had a waiting list. It's had a lot of love. This is a bit of a wild card, but I think from a collecting point of view and just a pure ownership enjoyment point of view, this watch really delivers. So let's see what happens. We've got a year. I would be surprised if it comes back in a cool, sexy packaging, but it's still a possibility. A year without sales for lots of brands gives them a lot of thinking space and also makes them a little bit more creative if they've got a lot of these languishing around, part made, or they have the patterns already. So it's quite an economical way to introduce a fresher version of this. If anyone's a whiz on Photoshop or any kind of art package, you could quite easily see what a PVD model might look like and make your own interpretation. I'm sure Rolex and Tudor do keep an eye on these sort of people who can interpret watches and sort of predict what's going to happen. But yeah, I can enjoy it as it is, apart from this awful strap. But other than that, I think it's a great watch. So let me have your thoughts.